disappointed with the loss on Saturday, and going back and looking at it, it's the same thing we talked about after the game on Saturday. Kids played really hard. Our execution wasn't where it needed to be, and we didn't make great I don't think great in-game adjustments, and that starts with me. I've got to do a better job on the sidelines. My suggestions, offense, defensively, and stuff, and we didn't do a good job collectively. And so we're going to learn from it. We're going to move on and get ready for USD this week. And we're not going to, reinvent the wheel. We're going to get back to what we do and just do it better. And we're excited about playing at home and against a really good South Dakota football team. So open up for questions.
Chris, any update on Levi's status or any other injuries after the game on Saturday?
Yeah, Levi's was a knee. It's not an ACL. I think I'll get more information probably today. It's not ligament where it would be a surgery type deal, but we're just trying to decide if it's a week to week or if it's going to be a 3 or 4 week deal based on how he feels today, next few days. I'll know probably more by Tuesday or Wednesday, but I don't know if there's I'd say 50-50 if he's got a chance to play this week. And obviously we need him if he can, but if he can't, then we'll adjust.
If you can't, how do you adjust? What do you do there?
Well, that's something that we'll decide on this week. We haven't been with the guys yet, but hopefully we'll get Chris back a little bit better. Last week he just was on special teams, and we're hoping that he's a week stronger because he only played X amount of plays on special teams, so that'll help us. And obviously Jabril back for the full game helps us, and Matt and Nick and go from there.
Easton's had, I think, 7 interceptions the last 3 weeks. Concerned there, or what's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned about his play. He's going to continue to grow and play better. He made a couple of throws I know he wish he had back, but I know the way the kid's preparing, the way the kid is going about his business, getting ready for Saturday. I have no issues with. A couple of times there was miscommunication that maybe probably wouldn't have cost an interception for him on that case, but I don't have any concerns with Easton. If Easton sticks a quarterback here, I'd take him for another 20 years. I'd have a great career here.
What did you see on offensive line watching the tape? Was it anything that they did, South Dakota State did, that you guys hadn't seen all year? Or just
on their offense or defense? I'm sorry. I thought we played okay up front. We didn't have the ball enough, Dom. Only 55 plays or whatever it was and 27 runs. We need to run the ball more, and we talked about that a bunch as a staff yesterday. But we typically aren't chasing a game where we were down 2 scores like we were a decent chunk of that game, and so probably got away from us a little bit and threw the ball a little bit more than what we probably wanted to. All that being said, I wasn't disappointed in our offensive line at all. We turn the ball over and it's 27-21 with an opportunity to stop them, to get the ball back, to have a chance to potentially go ahead. So as poorly as it seemed like it was, we still had an opportunity.
How do you concerned about your players, putting too much pressure on themselves after stuff like this?
Yeah, you always do, just because the nature of the beast, as far as the amount of games that we've won and the few games that we've lost, and what a great culture we have here, and that's our job as coaches. Once again, we haven't seen them today. I know this. They're taking the loss really hard, but they've taken the few losses we've had over the years that I've been here really hard, which is always a good sign. Kramer had them in the weight room, and we've got to build them back up because they're pretty down. But I don't think they're trying to say that there's too much pressure. We try to alleviate that pressure and alleviate the stress. I don't mind the pressure. The stress is what I don't want those kids to have. And maybe a loss will let them relax and play. Who knows? But when you lose a few games as we've lost here, there's always that added pressure each week to say, hey, we got to keep this thing rolling. And we talk. There's good football teams in this league, and it's tough to run the table.
From social media a lot. I mean, they got buddies out there tweeting.
I told the guys after the game, we got to trust and believe the people in this room, and not listening to the outside noise. both ways. I mean, we're 8-0, and sometimes you can't listen to that too, of how great we are, and boy, we can't get beat, and we can't do this, and we have this great defense or great running game, whatever it may be, that you can't get caught up in that too. So I think it's both ways. You know, you don't want to listen to all the negative stuff when you lose, but you got to be careful. You can't listen to all the positive stuff when you win.
I know SDSU really went hurry, try to get. South Dakota does kind of the same thing. Does that help a little bit, just knowing, you know, you kind of saw a hurry up and are going to see another hurry up?
It probably helps a little bit. I just think South Dakota is going to do it a lot faster than South Dakota State does, especially as they gain a first down and come right back on the ball, or as they get into your territory, especially once they cross the 50, boy, they're going as fast as they can. And it's hard to see that on the tape, but we lived it last year. And I don't think we played very well defensively last year. And the biggest thing for us is to be able to get lined up. And so we have some mechanisms now. I think that will alleviate that problem that we've worked on throughout the spring, throughout summer, throughout fall camp. Now this is the first week that we've really had the opportunity to maybe utilize it. And it's just tough to simulate in practice because you still have to show a scout team what to do. And then they got to line up and play. And that's difficult to go at a fast pace. So we have some things in place that we're going to try this week, and that's the big thing for us. We have to get lined up.
Curious about Thursday's rankings at all being released, which is the playoff rankings that really matter.
No, I guess I don't. I didn't. Other than what people tell me, I don't, and I don't pay attention to what the rankings were for today or where they are for Thursday. We have to take care of what we need to take care of, which is to play good football this Saturday.
Lance on Saturday, without being able to get a running game going, was that a factor?
No, well, you lose one of the top backs in the league. Absolutely, it's a factor. Now, I was really pleased with Ty. I thought he ran really well. Once again, unlimited carries, and you know he busts an 80-yarder that gave a lot of people life to think, wow, this kid's a home run hitter, and we know he is, and so we just probably have to give him the ball a little more. We got to give Bruce a little bit more. I was pleased with Seth in space, getting the ball thrown to him and catching the ball and being able to get vertical. So it hurts to lose Lance without question, but it is what it is. So these next three guys, or these other three guys, have to carry the load.
It looked like you got to Christian a lot, or put pressure on him, but couldn't catch him. Is that
that's pretty accurate statement. I think if we put some good pressure on him and give Christian credit, he was able to scramble around and keep his eyes downfield and make some plays. And no doubt, that's what we have to do with Strebler. We have to be able to keep him in the pocket. If he gets out on the edge, you can just watch the film of the 9 games they've played. When he gets out on the edge and breaks contain, he can beat you running the football. He can beat you throwing the football. And so for us, we need to do a great job of keeping him in between the tackles, and that's going to be the emphasis this week because it's very similar styles.
Is he as mobile as Christian is from what you've seen on tape?
I believe so. I think they're both really mobile guys, and both have the ability to tuck it and run, and both have the ability to keep their eyes downfield and throw it. So, I hate to compare the two guys, but Strebler's a real mobile guy that's going to hurt us with his feet and his arm.
Does it make it easier having these games back to back, where you kind of have the similar game plan for the mobile quarterbacks?
Well, I don't know if our game plans will be similar simply because the offenses are way different. Even though they have potential to go fast, the quarterbacks are mobile and those other things. Everything else about their offense compared to what we just faced is different. So is there an advantage? Probably not.
Chris, is Strebler's arm better this year from what he was decent last year? Looks like he's throwing better this year.
Just so much more accurate. I think that's a thing that I thought he had really good accuracy on the deep ball last year, and that has continued on this year. I think he's throwing the ball across the middle. He's going to his second read so much more, where last year I thought he would have just pulled it and taken off if the first read wasn't there. I think he's doing a great job, and that's another year in the system to be able to say, okay, that read's not there. I'm going to come back and go to my second option and get the ball out on time and really accurate in between the hashes.
Cole, any closer coming back?
We hope he throws this week. So now, does that mean he's going to play this weekend? Probably not, but he's going to practice this week and spin it around a little bit, and so that's great news for us to be able to get him back. Just handing the ball off, maybe some shorter throws, and getting him maybe 1 week closer. And if it goes well, I know last week he was throwing a tennis ball and stuff, had no pain. So now he's going to throw football this week. How much can he do? We'll find out. But I'm pleased that he's going to be able to practice this week.
Got senior week this week. This group of 20, not including Greg Menard there. What has this class meant? I know they all kind of have their own personalities, but what stood out about this group? What will you remember about this
Well,
group?
this is kind of my last class that I was the defensive coordinator in 2013 when Demps and Chris were redshirted and Nick played and some of those other. I mean, I knew those guys really well as the assistant coach and was able to coach a couple of them as defensive backs. So it's a special group to me as far as those guys being excited that there wasn't wholesale changes when Coach Bull left, that I was able to get the job and have a little bit of continuity within the program. And they've won an awful lot of football games. They've done an awful lot of great things, not only on the field, but as importantly off the field. The community service that our kids have done, every student athlete here, but you look at some of these, what Nick DeLuca and Cole Davis and Grant Morgan and those guys, and I'm missing guys, but what those guys do on a daily basis is really remarkable, how much they give back to this great community.